Mention her Olympic 10k. Remember, the Olympic 10k was actually in the classic style, and Therese Johaug won the gold in a time of 28:06.3. Niskanen silver 28:06.7. 0.4 of a second in it, and they started 2 minutes apart with Niskanen last. She will know for the rest of her life that if she'd had that information over the last kilometre, then she could have got the gold medal. Sarah Goebel, recently racing in the USA National Championships. They took place in Michigan. Big names like Diggins missing from that, so other athletes getting a chance, but Goebel was fourth on that occasion, and she's going to be chased by Heidi Weng. Now this could be handy for the American, because I suspect that Heidi Weng will catch her after the first lap, and Heidi Weng will need to catch her. If she wants to win today, she's got to go hard from the start, and yeah, I think you can see her intentions are pretty clear. That is a good start from Heidi Weng, looking for 106th podium actually, and if she won, then that would be her 14th win. Most successful athlete in the field, you may be surprised to hear, is number 33, Ingvild Flugstad Östberg. Haven't seen much for the last couple of years. She's had weight issues, and yeah, not been that well. And I think that's affected her a sort of mental strength as well. So really hoping she has a good one today. We've seen signs of what she can do this season already. Palmakoski, the number one Finn over 10k freestyle, and certainly with having a pretty good season. She was only 13th in the last World Championships in the 10 free, but she's better than that, and 9th place in the overall standings. Andersson just getting herself ready. She has got, what, 4 minutes at the most before she'll be out on the tracks. Emmy Lamser, another Finn, 6 Finns racing today. List of those not racing: Tyrell Ludnesveng and Frida Karlsson. I've mentioned the top 2 in the World Cup standings. Katharina Henniger, Germany, focusing on the World Championships rather than racing today, so she is not here. Feindrich isn't racing, the Swiss sprinter. Dahlqvist isn't racing, the Swedish sprinter. No real surprises, but they are well placed in the World Cup standings. Yanatova leading at 1.5 at the moment, ahead of Ducour-Du in 4:18.5, the lead score. That's just been bettered by a big jump. That's a good start from Diggins, and Haga is 7.6 behind Diggins, so Haga's gone okay. Kern is down in 6th, 9 seconds behind, so a very positive start from Diggins, maybe looking for her 3rd freestyle win of the season. Coralie Bentz goes for France. Yeah, she was interviewed just before the start of the race. Absolutely delighted to be racing in France. That was Silja Theodorsson, another athlete that's having her best season. I don't think we can say the same for Stadlober, currently lying 13th in the overall. Tour de Ski, she finished 9th. She was ill after that. I don't know if you saw the interview at the start, but she wasn't very well, and Stadlober, like many, they generally think that 30% of the athletes who complete the tour then suffer for the next couple of weeks, which is why there's essentially a sprint program for 2 weeks. And these, of course, the first distance races since then. And when did the tour finish? 8th, 9th of January. So we're looking at almost 3 weeks since it finished. Niskanen coming up to 1.5. She's gone through 11.5 off the pace. Diggins is a big margin ahead. That was Fossesheim of Norway, another athlete that sat out a couple of races, as has Ebba Andersson. Looking forward to seeing her and Karlsson do battle again, but Karlsson is away, Andersson is back. that duel will have to wait, probably until the World Championships in Planica. Biathlon World Championships are first. They're taking place in Oberhof from the 8th of Feb, run for a couple of weeks, and then we're straight on to the cross-country Worlds. So, how is Heidi Weng? She looked to start pretty fast, got into 5th position, so yeah, I think she'll be a bit depressed when she hears she's 8.6 behind. Well, that's a very positive start for Diggins. She's gone through 2 and now has a lead of 6.4, so the pace is still high. Diggins, early on in her career, 5K was the distance. That's where she was getting the wins. Now it seems to be the 10K, which is her forte. And I think she will have been quite excited by the programme here in Les Rousses. Kaloinen, another of the older Finns. Niskanen 34, Kaloinen 35, Palmakoski over 30 as well. They need the next generation to step it up. Here comes Palmakoski. She's going to get pretty close. She goes into 2nd place. That's solid. Yeah, looks to be skiing well within herself. Beautifully balanced on the ski. But some would say slightly laboured, as in the tempo just a little bit slow. Østberg, cameras obviously sense that. So we're getting towards the back of the start list. Ted Dawson is next to go, number 27. What was she? 43 seconds down on the best in the Norwegian 10-kilometre free. Lotte Udnesveng winning that. She starts number 31, so in 2 minutes time. And here comes Rosie Brennan. Could she put any pressure on Jess Diggins? No, she's going to be 5 or 6 outside. 4.6 the margin, so a decent start for Brennan. But it's Jess Diggins who is absolutely flying at the moment. Very positive start. She's gone through 3.3. She's now pushed her lead over Yanatova to 13.5 seconds. Well, that's pretty impressive. That is very, very impressive. Haga coming up towards 5.3. First off the start sheet. She'll have some company this time round, which I think will help her if she strikes lucky and gets a decent athlete coming out as she goes through. Victoria Karl from Zella-Mellis, formerly in East Germany. Never been on the podium. What's she done? 120 World Cups. She's been around a while, Victoria Karl. Eva Urvic from Slovenia. Mandelic of Slovenia to go before her. This is Franchi for Italy. And only 2 Italians. Christina Pittin already out on the course, started 26. Diggins' time still standing at 1.5 incidentally. She's got lead at 3.3. She'll be up towards 4.8 in the next couple of minutes. Diggins started at 11, so 5 minutes off the leaders. Yeah, Ducordu, who had a very fast start for France, starting to suffer now, having been ahead of Ragnhild Haga. She now finds herself 12 behind, going through 5.3. Diggins, Palmakoski, just 3 seconds, very close between Palmakoski and Andersson and Brennan. Interesting situation developing there. Well, they're close enough to challenge Diggins. Pia Fink just going through 1.5, not going to make the, well, she was going through 4.8 actually. She's gone into 5th place as we see Dolce up to 1.5. Now this is a very good start. Oh, she's in good company there. Palmakoski and Andersson either side of her performance. I think she'll be delighted with that. Østberg is next. Away she goes. Usberg, who won the overall World Cup back in 2019. She's 32 now, and I wonder what her race plans are. Obviously, she's now just focusing on the World Championships. It was all about qualifying for the World Championships. So today, pretty important for her. Lundgren will be followed out of the start by Fossesholm. Lundgren from Åsane, which has one of those ski gymnasiums where the athletes go after high school, sort of university, but with emphasis on sport and learning all about training methods and nutrition, everything you need to know as an athlete. And certainly one of the secrets to Scandinavia's success when it comes to winter sports and many other sports. Janatova now up to 5.3. She goes ahead of Haga at 4.8. Janatova was 0.6 ahead. She's extended that to 1.5, so climbing the hills well. And we're into the last few starters here in Les Rousses. Anna Comarella, we've got Eva Urvets, Hayley Swirbel and Delphine Claudel still to come. Well, there you see the climb. It's brutal, isn't it? You get 120 meters and then the climbing starts. It's not a very easy one. A straight-on climb is easy, but there's a slight slope, a camber, would you call it, to the left, then to the right. So requiring a change in technique as they go. Urvets now from Slovenia. We didn't see her in Livigno, didn't race there. She comes from Bled, actually. And really looking forward to the World Championships in Planica. Now, Diggins setting the early times all the way up to 4.8 at 5.3. She extends that lead to 21.6. Oh my goodness. Now, when she went through 4.8, she was 20, so she's still pulling clear of the rest of the field, still gaining ground. Hayley Swirbel of USA, probably just seen Diggins go through, and that, I think, will be a little bit of inspiration to see the team leader going so well. Swirbel, 3 national championships recently in Michigan. And then the last starter, there will definitely be a big cheer for Delphine Claudel. Now, are we going to see the same sort of performance that she put in the Alpe Chalamis, the last stage of the Tour de Ski? She won that stage, ended up, trying to think where she finished in the Tour de Ski. She finished 10th, but won that last stage. And of course, that goes down as her only World Cup win. Heidi Weng. Well, this is Lotte Udnes-Weng. This is not what we saw from her last week. So the situation hotting up here in Les Rousses. We've got Ragnhild Haga going very well for Norway. Great to see her back. Hasn't raced on the World Cup since March 22. She leads the way at 6.6, but she was 23 seconds down on Jess Diggins at 5.3. Diggins yet to go through the 6.6. Won't be long before she does. Here comes Haga up to 8.1. She's certainly going to be the first to finish, setting a good pace out front. Kern of USA is going well. Diggins just through 6.6 as we see Haga set the fastest time at 8.1, and Diggins now 26 seconds clear at 6.6. She is absolutely romping this one. So Palmakoski sitting in the top 3 at 2K. Palmakoski was second at 1.5. She's down in 4th at 3.3. She's not on the lead, not got to 4.8 as yet. Well, she must have done, because here she is coming up to 5.3, so I'm not quite sure. But I think Palmakoski's struggling a little, maybe too fast going off that, the chasing the time set by Diggins. I think she is really struggling. Mo Lundgren for Sweden, leading the Finn round her second loop. Now, Rosie Brennan. We saw her early on, 6th at 1.5. She was up to 2nd at 4.8, so pacing things pretty well. Coming up to 5.3, how close can she get? She's only going to be just over, or maybe just under 10 seconds. No, just over 10 seconds. And the two Americans, 1 and 2 at the moment. Oh my goodness, they'll be getting excited on the other side of the Atlantic, because this is just the sort of form rise they wanted to see before the World Championships. Diggins started 11th. Brennan started 19. Brennan, remember, 4th in the Tour de Ski this year. Diggins ending up down in 11th. Wasn't a brilliant tour for Jess Diggins. Now, Claudel, last to start, looking very light indeed. She just loves the harder the course, the better it is for Claudel. Hasn't quite got the power of Diggins, and it shows in the early stages. 8 seconds down in 11th spot, tucked in. Was that Andersson that she was behind? Trying to pick up on Andersson. Andersson has just gone through 4.8, and there's a little bit of news on the course, because having been 3 seconds down on Jess Diggins, Andersson is now ahead, not by a small margin, 7.3 seconds. Wow, that's an incredible comeback for Andersson. And Frida Karlsson, wherever she is, will be watching this thinking, well, I should think she'd relish the competition, but this is some performance from Andersson. Looks to be back to the form we saw from her in Ruka and Lillehammer before she got ill, and she's coming up to 5.3. The margin was 7.3 just over a kilometre ago. It's up to 10 now, and Andersson absolutely storming this. But word of caution for those fans who are supporting the Swede, she does tend to go hard from the gun. She does tend to pay the price in the last 2 or 3K, so it's certainly not over at this stage. So at 3.3 after the first lap, Diggins, Andersson, Østberg, Brennan, Palmer-Koski are the top 5. What a list of names. That's absolutely sensational. We're just missing Till Ludnesveng and of course Frida Karlsson, both of whom are absent from this week's racing. Janatova wearing 8. Just going past Jensu of Finland, so she's taken 30 seconds out of her. And Haga into the finish. Haga still at the halfway stage, still in the top 7 with most of the big names through. I have a feeling that may be good enough to win her a place in the World Championships. Here comes Diggins, who started very, very hard, was setting all the time splits, the best splits as she went along, still leading at 6.6. Brennan's just gone through in 2nd place, 14 seconds down, but the danger to Diggins is Ebba Andersson, who is now 10 seconds clear, having gone through at excuse me, 5.3, 28. Suddenly the technique just looking a little bit ropey, but we're used to seeing that from Diggins. The work rate absolutely exemplary, but is she struggling a bit? Having no problem tucking in behind is Silja Teodorsen, and I think that might bring her to a fairly healthy time. I'll try and pick up on Teodorsen. She's 5th at 4.8. Niskanen looking a little bit heavy in the legs. Those guys thinking, what is this cross-country game all about? Quite happy to get a lift to the top. As we see Alexandra Lawson, another of the USA athletes from Craftsbury, which is where Jess Diggins lives now. So Andersson through 5.3. Andersson's wearing bib number 23. She's been doing some Scandinavian Cup races last 10 days ago. Yeah, two weeks, 10 days, and looked very, very solid there. Don't forget Andersson's the bronze medalist from the last World Championships in Oberstdorf, over 10-kilometre free, as we see Joensuu of Finland trying to dig deep, but she's already lost 30 seconds to Katarina Janatova of the Czech Republic. Janatova challenging for a podium. She's been in the top 6 or 7. It depends obviously on the speed over the last few kilometres, but 9.3 off the lead at the moment. Diggins is 25 seconds clear of Niskanen. So I think Janatova is going to be down into 4th position fairly quickly. Julia Kern of USA, not in the top rankings early on. She goes 2nd for now, so I think that's a good recovery actually. Kern in 7th at 6.6, but pushed out of the top 10 in all the splits prior to that. Now Diggins, 31, still able to hurt herself more than most on the tour when it comes to really committing every ounce of energy. I think we could well see her collapse across the line again as she finishes here in Les Rousses. What does she do for time? 24.57 is beaten, so a 24.30, 24.29.3 the time for Jess Diggins. Rosie Brennan, I say only 23 seconds behind when we last saw her at 6.6. I suspect she's getting closer. She is. So that's a pullback. Wow, that's substantial. 8 seconds. It's not beyond the realms of possibility that she could do something a little bit special here. Well, that's 8 seconds in 1.5 kilometres. She's got another 2 kilometres to go. She's sitting at 15, so an exceptional performance from Brennan. May well see her overtake her teammate Niskanen, 28 seconds down at 8.1. That had grown to 20 or shrunk to 25.9 at 8.6. I think she needs, can she get within 20? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not going to be Niskanen's day. She'll be really looking forward to the last day here, Sunday, the 20-kilometre mass start. I think she'd prefer it was a time trial, to be honest. But Niskanen, a warm-up for Sunday, perhaps 25.4 the margin at the moment, so nothing really clawed back on Diggins over the last K and a half, whereas there are plenty of athletes out there who are doing that. Andersson coming up towards 8.1 now. Andersson 8 seconds clear at the last split. Diggins starting to come back at her, and this is where Andersson often struggles. So needs, what does she need? I think she needs a 10-second lead. She's got it. She's got more than that, so she's done really well on the second climb, and Andersson with just 1.9 to go, an advantage of 16. She can throw away almost a second per 100 metres. Delphine Claudel tucking in behind, having started a loop behind, and Claudel has got herself up into 4th place at 4.8, so feeding off the strength of the Swede. That's fairly handy. Heidi Weng at halfway outside the top 10. Ebba Andersson est donc leader. Yeah. Nothing spectacular for Heidi Weng. I really thought we might see her do something today, but that's a bit disappointing. 44.4. Claudel still looking very, very comfortable. 13.8 off the pace now, going through 5.3. That puts her up into 4th place. Now this is a fine performance. She has struck lucky, tucking in behind Andersson. That's very, very handy indeed. 17 is Palmakoski. You'll recognise her. Just behind her is 34, Moa Lundgren of Sweden. We've seen some good results from Moa. Now normally it would be the athlete who's done less skiing who would lead. That would be Moa Lundgren. And is she going to go ahead of Palmakoski, help the Finn into the finish? Doesn't look like it. Palmakoski outside the top positions at 8.6, so she will be as disappointed as Heidi Weng. Bit of a surprise. So not showing the form we saw from her in the Finnish Championships. Here comes Rosie Brennan. Now, she was only 34 behind, and with Diggins the leader. I think this is all about whether she can get up into second place, Rosie Brennan, and go ahead of Niskanen, who's sitting there on 24.54. I think she will. She's going to. Good race from Brennan. So America 1 and 2 at the moment. Niskanen of Finland in third. Haga of Norway, who started number 1, is sitting 4. That's a good comeback race for Haga. I think she'll be delighted with that. Julia Kern is 5. Yanatova, who started early, number 6. Pipo of Finland is 7. And Heidi Weng at the moment, 44 seconds off the leaders, is down in 8th place. Ted Dawson getting closer and closer to the front. She's sitting at 36. Top 5 is possible. Now this is a great race for Claudel. She's getting a free run round her second loop. 23 obviously is Andersson coming into the finish, and Rosie Brennan posted a 24.48. Andersson, I think, could well go, well, she could go under 24, but that would be amazing if she manages that. 43 seconds to play with. The win is hers for the taking. Claudel, I think, is the only athlete who might challenge her. Andersson would be very, very annoyed if the athlete that's stuck behind her for a full 3 kilometers goes on to beat her. But that makes this race exciting. The best, one of the best going last is going to keep the race alive all the way to the finish. So Andersson across the line, 20.5 the margin. She's really worked well. I thought there was a little blip between 5.3 and 6.6, but since then Andersson has looked strong, not making the mistake she made early on in the season where she went too hard in the first K. We saw that in Ruka at the start of the season, but that is a cracking race, and Diggins, the first person over to congratulate the Swede, who I am pretty sure has taken the win, a time of 24.08 for the 10 kilometers. That is rapid. Remarkably, Andersson's only had 2 wins, so it could be 3, but France are still very excited by Claudel's prospects. Now Claudel, who was, I'm just going to have a look how far behind she got. Well, she's been hovering around 12. At 5.3 she was at 13.8, as we see Dolce of France across the line into 5th position. She'll drop down 3 or 4 places before the end of the day. But Claudel, after sitting in behind Ebba Andersson for a whole lap, is now just 11.7 off the lead, and if she can hold that margin and put in a good final lap, she's going up into 2nd place. Usberg 16.7 at 8.1. That puts her 3rd, as you saw. She's got a margin of 15 seconds over Rosie Brennan. That's pretty handy. That's pretty handy. So Usberg and Claudel just 0.7 apart at 6.6. Those two could have a good battle in the closing stages of this race. Celia Teodorsen, always nice when you see an athlete respond to the shout of the coaches. And that was a good response from Teodorsen. Yeah, the legs are tired, but so they should be after 9,900 meters. Last time we saw her just outside the top 10, but she's going to go in the top 4 for now. 41.9. Starting behind her, we've got Lotte Udnesveng, who really hasn't featured at all today. She looked well below par. Not quite sure what was happening there. I hope she hasn't got the same bug as her sister, which has kept Tiril Udnesveng out of action. And that, of course, was Ebba Andersson sitting in top spot, but she will be keeping a very careful eye on the splits. Claudel has gone through 6.6. She's on to her last lap now, and was 11 seconds behind. 8.1 is going to be an absolutely critical split, because that is where Andersson pulled away from the rest of the field. Victoria Karl, 7th place at 6.6 and 8.1. She's had 72 podiums, could be pushing it up to 73. 10 seconds, 20 seconds is the marker. That's where Jess Diggins came to hold. I think Diggins has got the better of the Norwegian over the last few 100 metres. Yes, it's going to be a tight one going into third. But Østberg is not safe in third, because Claudel has gone second at 8.1 and she's only 7.3 behind. So Claudel has 8.5, 9 seconds over Diggins with 1900 metres to go. We'll get another split on Claudel. In fact, she's just gone through 8.6. She's now at 8.4, so she has lost a little bit of time on that downhill section, but still comfortably inside the top two. So the podium at 8.6 looks like Andersson 1, Claudel of France 2, Diggins of USA 3, the pace setter, Østberg in 4, Brennan in 5, Thea Dawson of Norway pulling herself up to 6. She's had a very good day. And Flora Dolci of France still sitting in 7th at 41.4. And that, of course, is with all the athletes through the 8.6 kilometre stage. So Niskanen in 8th, currently sitting in 7th. I think everyone's just going to shift down one place, apart from Ebba Andersson, who I'm pretty sure is safe with the perfect comeback race to the World Cup. Yeah, so many of the athletes have been ill this year, some with COVID, some with flu, some with just colds and sore throats. But as usual, after the Tour de Ski, some of the big names all disappear. Having a discussion about whether the big names, that those at the front of the field actually work harder. I suspect that when you're told you're 1 second behind the leader, you do work harder than someone who's told they're 1 minute behind the leader. Fossesson. I don't think she's on as good a form as we saw 2 years ago. So here goes Claudel, still looking very smooth, but what has she managed to do? 26 seconds. She's not quite going to match that. And no splits from 8.6 inwards. So the last 1,400 metres would have to be very, very spectacular. Most of it's downhill. I just don't think she's got the strength or the weight to dominate on those downhill sections. But it's been a fantastic day out. And if France get an athlete on the podium, that is something special. Andersson still leading, 24.08, the time in the finish. And Claudel, 8.4 behind last time we saw her. She'd lost a little bit of ground to Andersson in the previous 500 metres. She can't match the best, but she's going well inside Jess Diggins. 13.4 and a second place for Claudel to back up her win on the Alp Cheremis. How about that? It's been a long wait to race on home snow, on the French snow, and she has absolutely delivered today. That's a fantastic race. So Claudel up into second place, and that pushes Ingvild Østberg off the podium, which is very sad, because that would have been Østberg's first podium since her comeback. So, but delighted to see her there. She'll know that there is more to come. Swirbel of the USA, 1:18 the margin. She started 30 seconds ahead of Claudel, just couldn't hang on to the French athlete when she came through. So that wraps it up. Short and sweet here in Les Rousses. Just 39 entries, only 20 minutes to get them underway. Well, there's your champion. Only her third win. I find that hard to believe. Such a talented athlete. Really came to prominence in Seefeld in the World Championships back in 2019. Yeah, the French faces said all. They are absolutely delighted. No attention on the winner. Great scenes. Yeah, so those two racing together on what was Claudel's second lap. It was Andersson's last lap, and you might just have picked up on the audio from Andersson saying it was nice to be with you, because there was so much support, and that makes a big difference. Doesn't matter who they're cheering for. If you're there and they're making a noise, it gets something extra out of you. And for Andersson on her last lap, that was very, very helpful. So once again, a little bit of fortune. I think they both benefited in some way. Claudel, I think, more than Andersson. But take nothing away from the French athlete's performance. 24.22 her time. That puts her into second. 7 seconds clear. Jess Diggins, did she overcook it? She was a long way clear early on. But then Andersson, Usberg, Brennan, Claudel all got within 10 seconds of her time by 3.3. I just feel that first climb from Diggins may be a tiny, tiny bit too fast. But, you know, it'd be interesting to hear her feedback. She's still got a big smile on her face. She's back on the podium again, Jess Diggins. That's her 44th podium in her career, missing out on her 15th win. Still level with Keegan Randall. That win will come sometime soon. So Ebba Andersson takes it.